Hey guys, today I'm with Manon Marchand, life and transformation coach from New York. She's a founder of the Warrior program that is empowering leaders through physical challenges in the wilderness. So, Manon, thanks for being so bold to contact me over Instagram and joining me today.
Thank you, Roman. Thank you for having me.
So, Manon, I really like your life story. Um, I know it's difficult to describe it, long story short, but could you please guide me through that process of losing your confidence, strength, and health back then in Paris?
Yes, so actually, about a little less than 10 years ago, so I was a PR executive working for a large nonprofit in Paris. And it seems like a dream job, right? Obviously. But it was very meaningful. But at some point, I think because of the stress, because of the fatigue, because of too much responsibilities, and on my part, not being able to deal with it for so many reasons at the time, I kind of lost the reason why, which is very important, right? When you are a leader, you need to remember why you are doing it. And I forgot about that. And so I just let myself being completely overwhelmed with stress and anxiety. And I remember that, these mornings going to work, and I was walking in the street and my stomach was hurting and I was stress eating, so I gained a lot of weight and I felt just tired and self-conscious. And at some point I realized that I could not continue on that path.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, and that also reminds me my story. I got a burnout back then in 2012 and same symptoms. And but maybe it happened from a reason. So what was afterwards? What's your story? How it continues? Because from that time, I feel in my life that things went quite well. So what about you?
Yeah, so I'm sure it happened for a reason. Something was not aligned anymore in my life with who I deeply was. And I think uh, this mini burnout, this loss of confidence and gaining weight and everything was indeed for a good reason. So how you know, at some point I remember being at home, and I was laying down on my sofa and I was thinking, okay, I have to do something about it. And I had a trip planned with my ex fiance at the time in India, and we broke up. It's like I left everything, the fiance, the job, like really a moment of, okay, something needs to change in my life. I'm not happy. And so we both had plane tickets, but I decided to go anyway on my own. And that was a big um, step for me. And it's something I'm sure we will go back to, because as a leader, you have a lot of loneliness. It's a very lonely role, right? You are surrounded by so many people. You have people that you are responsible for. You have obviously the people that are your bosses, but there is something very lonely about this position. And for me, choosing to go on my own for this trip was a way to transform loneliness into solitude, which is not at all the same thing, right?
Mhm.
And this is one of the things we will go back to, because with my program we also help leaders to be more at peace with being their best friend, if you like. So this decision of going on my own was very empowering. And then so I traveled on my own with my backpack, and I had to make decisions. And I came back to what I love the most. It's this notion of responsibility and challenges, but positive ones, meaning. And then at some point, because I went to Nepal on my own too, and that's what you do. You hike, right? When you go to Nepal, you meditate and then you hike. It's about, and then you meet great people. And a friend of mine told me about this amazing organization, and I will give their names because they deserve the advertisement. The Three Sisters Adventure, and so it's an organization that empowers Nepali women through hiking. So they will recruit guides, women guides, female guides, train them, pay them fairly. And as a woman solo, I wanted to have a woman guide that was more comfortable. So, I was overweight at the time, as I told you. I had no physical experience, like fitness experience at all. I was just, mm, and so I hired this guide, and here we are hiking on the Annapurna base camp trail in the Himalayas. Um, and this changed my life because I cried so much, which I think was a good thing. I finally, put all my emotions out through this physical challenge because it was hard. So it was almost like a catharsis, if you like. And also, it was so hard, but I made it. And that completely changed the way I was seeing myself. I felt a bit like a failure. I had to quit my job. I felt like I was not very good at it anymore. And managing to really deal with myself and my body and my pain and go all the way and reach this amazing goal, which is getting at the top, um, just completely brought me back to a self-confidence that I've lost, and made me feel empowered. And I just decided that I will live my life from these feelings of empowerment. Like all of my decisions now will be based on that. And I promised myself that I will remember that feeling, that state of mine, and then I will use it for my whole career and life in general.
This is so fascinating. And then maybe let's stop there in that moment when you made a decision. Um, you knew that you will go to Nepal, you will climb to base camp of Annapurna, or you had no idea what you are going to do, and you just um, have that commitment, or you wrote it down somewhere, or it was just agreement with yourself. Could you describe it a little bit more? Because there are maybe some other people, dealing with the same situation, and they need a recipe. What they can do.
That's an excellent question. As a coach, I call it accessing states, which is how you use a certain state that you are in emotionally in your life afterwards. And I had no idea at that time what was that, of course. But so I didn't write it down, but I have a specific memory of being in my hotel room after that trek. I stayed 2 days in the hotel room, just sleeping and eating and taking showers. And I do remember this moment, sitting down on my bed and really talking to myself, having this inner dialogue and saying, all right, so what you just did, if you could do that with no previous experience at all, in the physical state you were in, there are no much things that you cannot do. Remember that. Remember that in the future. And so I didn't write it down, but it's kind of like I wrote it down in here, you know. And I still now, years later, um, I've had, of course, new physical challenges. We will talk about it, obviously, with my new professional life. But this is the one that I remind myself every time I have fear. We all are afraid, of course, but at some point we decide to listen to it or not. And this is what reminds me that, okay, you are afraid, but you know what? You did that at that time, so you can do it.
I
Mhm.
see. So this is that kind of meaningful challenge that you offer in your program, because I know it from my experience, and I think that every for everyone it's different. For some people it's maybe running a marathon, for some people climbing a mountain, or going to Nepal and climbing to Annapurna.
Mhm.
um, but I think I know what you are talking about, because when and it happens also in the future after recovering from all of this, and I was sometimes disappointed about something, I was down, and I remembered the specific moment you are talking about, completing that meaningful challenge, and I knew I it can be much worse. That my
Hmm.
like boundaries are much further, and I think it's about expanding that comfort zone that we live in. Can you expand on that a little bit more?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Don't get me started. This is everything I believe in life.
Okay, go for it.
So, yes, that's right now what my life is based on, and also my career as a coach and as a hiking guide, and both also sometimes. Um, Getting out of our comfort zone is the only way we have as human beings to know how strong and capable we are. Um, because if we stay where we are very comfortable in life and we do the same thing every day, how can we know? How can we know what we are capable of? So it's very important. We don't have to use it. Of course, you will not run a marathon every 3 days. That's not the point. You don't need to have this kind of challenges, all the time. You need one. You really do need one. And you said it yourself, and I also have this experience, and I all of my clients that are marathon finishers, they don't need to do it every 2 weeks. They
Mhm,
know, the whole process, the journey to reach that goal, and then this moment that we are talking about where you're like, whoa, I did it. I mean, this is priceless.
mhm,
And it's not only because, wow, I did something amazing, I'm such a badass, but it's like, okay, I did something that I had no idea I could. So I pushed, as you said, my boundaries.
mhm,
When I was hiking on this Annapurna Base Camp trail, I thought I'm gonna die. As literally at some moment, I was like, I will die. That's it. That's it. I mean, of course, I will not. But you know what I'm talking about. It's like when your body is giving up, and I didn't die.
mhm,
You
mhm.
know, and I think this is it, and this built our self-esteem and confidence in such an efficient way because we have proof that we can do more than we thought, and that expands completely the horizon in our daily life after that at work for leaders. Oh, wait a minute, so I could do that. So I'm capable of managing this team, even though I'm very scared about that. I can do that. I can do that. So yes, getting out of comfort zone, challenging ourselves in a meaningful way, and I think that's what every human being wants. Even at work, if we forget the physical challenge, meaning and challenges, that's the way we grow, right? I think every human being wants meaning and challenge because that's both of it together. It's how we grow,
Yes, exactly.
self-awareness and growth.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. I agree 100%. And you mentioned also one interesting point. What meaningful means. That's and you said that it's not feeding your ego and putting on socials that you ran a marathon and collecting likes. It's about it's that inner game, and you are a hero for yourself, not for others. And you take that. This is how I feel, how I think about it. You take that energy from this moment also in the future, right? Mhm.
Forever.
Forever,
Hmm. If you
forever.
decide to,
Yes.
you can have it forever.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. So what is specific about the program, about Barrier program, that with what people, what clients you work with, and how?
Yes. So basically, it's interesting because without talking about it, we just
Mhm,
actually explained what it was, right? So I offer to leaders. So the exact, same people you work with. So entrepreneurs, executive, high-level managers, CEOs, people. So what we call leaders in the Wire program is anyone that has responsibility of other people
mhm,
and has to work together with other people for a common cause. And I also recently actually decided to add as people that can sign up for the program politicians and public figures, because they don't necessarily have a team that they are managing, but they are people that, of course, have to inspire others and work on on their leadership, so they can have people following them for this common cause. So these are the people I work with, and what we offer, and I say we because of course I have a team behind me, and as a leader, I want them to feel like I'm thinking about them right now. So we work with these people. So it's a very, if you like, simple program. Simple, I would like to say, like, it's not complicated. You come to us. Sometimes they have a very clear idea of what their physical challenge is, because it's based on physical challenges. So some wants to run a marathon, they know that, and some will just come to us saying, I'm tired. It's usually people, that are a little stressed out, tired, burned out, can go like different level of stress. Um, Usually that has symptoms of leadership fatigue, which is so common. Of course, it's exhausting to be a leader. And people that want a change, whether it's physical or mental change, both usually, and that's what you get when you do the Wire program. The goal is really to say, okay, now it's time to refocus on myself, what we were saying, not because the ego, but because a need, a really sincere, deep need to refocus on me. So we work a lot on time management, because to train for a marathon or a multi-day kayak trip or 7 days on the Pacific Crest Trail in America, you need time. And this is an amazing way for leaders to remind themselves, this has to be a part of my schedule.
Mhm.
Self-care, because this is self-care, to train physically, to eat better. Of course, that's also a part of the program. I'm also a nutrition coach, so I really like it to be connected with also a better, healthier way to eat. Um, it is a part of my schedule, and I want to say it again and again, because I keep saying it to my clients. Look at the time management on your schedule. You have, and Google or whatever you use, Google Calendar, Apple Schedule, whatever, you have all your meetings, okay, the kids' doctor appointments, um, everything is on it except your self care.
Exactly.
It's not on the schedule.
I see it everywhere with all leaders that I start working with. And this is the first thing we need to check the calendar. I agree.
Exactly.
Mhm,
Exactly. And so when they come to us,
mhm,
and then we establish their goal. So it can be, in 6 months, I will run a marathon, or in 3 months, I will go on a weekend backpacking trip in the Appalachian Trail next to New York City, which is not far. And with COVID, I have a lot of that these days because it's convenient, right? You don't need to travel far. So that can be a very physical challenge for some people. It's very challenging for some people to carry a heavy backpack and go on a 2-day adventure alone, camping at the middle of the wilderness. So challenges are not the same for everyone, of course. So when we establish the goal, we are very interested in their background, their fitness background, their health, their level of motivation, the time they have, and then we decide together, okay, this is, and we call it the Wire Challenge. Here
mhm,
you are. In, I will, so we have this very smart goal, very specific goal. And then I work with physical trainers, other nutrition specialists, other than me, that will help the clients to get ready for their goal. And these are the changes they will have to put. And we were talking about self-care and prioritizing myself in my daily life. And we have one-on-one sessions every week to make sure that they are still motivated, that the accountability is there, that they are not giving themselves excuses, and if they do, what's going on, trying to go deeper on the issue. And yeah, they have a plan, and they have to train all the way until they are ready, and then that's the big day. And it's
mhm.
usually very exciting. That's why I'm like super excited just thinking about it, because when my clients, it's their day. I mean, it's
Uh,
amazing. It's amazing when they reach their goals.
Yeah, it's really nice listening to it, and I can sense how excited you are
Yeah.
and your clients. But what about people who can't afford such a program? Would you have a piece of advice for them how they can start? how to find accountability partner to achieve that challenge, and so it's safe, so it's not dangerous, and it's respecting like every part of their life.
Yeah, that's a very good point. So the first big advice for people that cannot afford a program like mine, but still, of course, wants to go for some out of comfort zone physical challenge. Um, First of all, I want to tell, good on you.
Mhm.
This is awesome. All right. That you want to challenge yourself. And then the first advice will be have a specific goal. It's very, very important. It doesn't matter what it is. I mean, I'm a hiking guide, so I believe in wilderness. I wanted just to add that. I think physical challenges are good. Physical challenges in the wilderness, and so many studies have proved it, are even better. So I will recommend to have a specific goal and for it to be outside to benefit from nature and the endless benefits of it. Specific goal is you need to be able to say in or on June 15th, 2021, with a very specific date, I will, not I want to, I will, the
Yes.
mindset, right? Different. I will go on a 2 day hike on the Appalachian Trail in the New York State. Once you have your goal, then you need an action plan. And for that, of course, you can have professionals, but you don't have to. You
Mhm.
Google. You Google. Go on like very nice websites that will tell you, how do I prepare for a weekend hike,
Mhm.
a backpacking hike, or do I prepare my body? And then you schedule everything. So every
Mhm.
evening at 7 p.m., be super specific, I will go
Mhm.
for a run, or I will do stretches, or I will do some strength training. Obviously, you will have to if you want to hike. So I have a specific plan. And then for the accountability, I like what you said, an accountability buddy, which is someone that you trust to be non-judgmental, but still a little pushy. So you need to find a good friend or someone in your family that he's there for you to say, I did it. So it can be just sending a text or a selfie. My clients, for example, send me selfies when they're at the gym. Uh, so you know that you have someone that is behind you. It is indeed very important. And if you can find someone to train with you, of course, it's even better. But with COVID at the moment, it's not easy. Having just someone that thinks about you and you can send some text messages and selfies, I think this is very good. So a specific plan, a specific goal, a specific plan, someone that helps you with the accountability.
Mhm.
And I think that's it. And then just the excitement of, all right, I'm doing something great and going for it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
I like what you are saying, and I can describe you my challenges, the recent challenges. It's nothing big. It's about starting with cold therapy. I was always afraid of cold water, so I start step by step, cold showers, and my dream was like swimming when there is ice, so you make a hole, and this was my dream. So, and it took me several years to get there. So I think what I would add, we also need to be patient. It doesn't have to be next week or next month, but
True.
certain points that we can say, yes, we are here, and where we go from there. So it can be, we can design several steps. This is my good experience, and also my next challenge was I wanted to go to wilderness and sleep outside on the floor without a mat, just like that, something like survival. You know it from some adventure documentaries, and that was a challenge for me. And but I had to start slowly. First, I tried to just walk in the night without having a light. Then I tried sleeping in a tent, and then without a tent. And so we can gradually um, increase that that challenge. Yeah, this is how I would describe it from my
Mm.
experience. Hmm.
That's an excellent point. Thank you so much for saying that and sharing that, because I always tell my clients a baby step is better than no step.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the goal is to start somewhere. So it's important, of course, to have a vision of where I want to be. But you're right, it's also important to chunk down, to really like narrow down the action plan, starting with just like, all right, tomorrow, and I liked what you said about the wilderness part. Tomorrow I will go 10 minutes walk in Central Park, and that's how I start. And my goal is in 3 months I do a weekend in the Appalachian Trail, but tomorrow I will go walk 10 minutes in Central Park. That's a good first step. Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Also, I'm thinking about other tip, and that's watching to some documentaries or people who did it, who like walked the Appalachian Trail or ran a marathon, a nice movie to get that motivation. So I know that the next day I will definitely wake up at 6 a.m. and I will do it. It's also a good tip to to do. Mhm. Okay, so Menon, tell me what feedback you have from your clients when they accomplish that program. Like what changes you see in their personality, in their leadership? Can you be more specific about it?
Yes. What comes to mind immediately is self-confidence. That's really is the most obvious benefit. They all share that with me, and I can see it even, the way the posture, the way they talk. There is a very big difference. That's why I really deeply believe that it's working to empower people, because I just see it and I say it. I'm so much more confident. Uh, I've been asking finally for this thing that I've always wanted to ask for. A raise is a very good example. That happens a lot. So people run their marathon, or they go for their hiking trip, or whatever is the wire challenge they choose, and then they go in the week after asking for something that they never dared ask at work. So self-confidence is definitely the the most obvious benefit, and of course the health, the improvement of their overall physical health and mental health also, and something very, or something I didn't expect that much, and I was like, oh, this is interesting, is the level of authenticity, um,
Mhm,
coming from, I think, a greater self-awareness.
mhm.
Because the more you know yourself, obviously, the more you feel like you can show it to the world who you are, and I think really, and this is one of the benefit of nature and wilderness. That's why I really
Yeah.
encourage people here out there to have their physical challenges out there in the nature, because you don't fake anything with nature.
Mhm.
You go outside, do your thing, and it's raining, and and you don't wear a mask, literally, not the COVID mask, but you don't wear a mask. Um, you can be yourself, and nature is bringing you these challenges, as I said, with the weather and so many other things that you have to deal with, and being fake is not going to help anything. So the authenticity, the self-awareness, is very big benefit that I had a feeling, because I've experienced that, and being a hiking guide before I created the Warrior program, I of course see this in my clients' face and behavior. But really, for leaders, I really believe that it's an amazing um, key to unlock more authentic leadership. I know myself more, I know what I'm capable of, but I also know my limits. Of course, you learn about yourself when you do something like that. It's very, it's deep and it's big for someone in a life, and so yeah, a self-awareness, self-knowledge, that's something that really people benefit from, leader benefit from, and also there is something that I noticed. I knew this one though, because when I started creating the program, I was aware that this may potentially happen. Is this positive stress?
Yeah, this is I'm with you, Menon, and so you talk about authenticity. I like that. You
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
can't fake nature. And also there is another
Mm,
aspect that we can bring from being in a wilderness, and that's vulnerability. Because when you climb the mountain, then you realize you are down, you can continue, you can cry, and then you feel better, especially for men. We never cry usually. And we pretend that we are strong, we are brave, and it takes a lot of energy sometimes. And for our people, when we act as leaders, the act of true leadership is to be vulnerable and say, I can't do this, I don't know it, or I'm struggling with this and that. And that's powerful. What do you think about it?
oh yeah, absolutely. My clients cry. Yeah, for sure. Men and women, they cry because it's hard during the training. They cry. Some of them, when I remember one of my clients that finished his marathon very recently, cried during the marathon because it hurts, but also at the end because he was so happy. So, and I don't believe that he cries much, indeed, in life. And we haven't talked about it, but now that you are bringing that to my awareness, I think I will ask him if at work he feels like he can be more vulnerable with his team now that he had this experience of tears when he was preparing and running and finishing his marathon. That's an excellent point. I'm sure that this opens something, and we realize that it's a normal part of life. You're right, and as a leader, it's so hard, right, to say I cannot do that, right? This is something, but we need to learn how to do it. And if my program and these physical challenges can help them doing that, I believe that is, of course, very beneficial.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is why also during my coaching and mentoring, I take my clients to mountains. We do the standard coaching, and besides, we are climbing, and doing this activity. But this program, this sounds really powerful, and I like the idea that you. This is how I view it. You train people to lead themselves first before leading others, because if they find time, and you mentioned that for self-care,
Mhm,
um, for finding that inner balance. uh, when we are balanced, we can use our intuition better, and then we can make better decisions and lead people as a good leader. uh, yeah, I like that. So and maybe we can together, we can create a group of, or community of leaders that are willing to share with others, so we can learn from each other. And that's a good idea. You are up to that?
absolutely. Of
Mhm.
course I am. Absolutely. Absolutely. We share a lot of values. And one more thing that is important in leadership, right, is being aware of your values and shine them at the workplace. And you and I have very similar values. So absolutely, of course, I'm interested.
I like that idea. Okay, good. So before we wrap up, could you maybe share your favorite books or other links, resources that people can study and gain some inspiration?
Mhm. Yeah, so I believe that one of my favorite book is Start with Why by Simon Sinek.
I,
Have you read this one? Yeah, of course you did. So, so it is an amazing book for leaders to remember, and we talked about it at the beginning of this interview. Why am I doing that? And it is not talking about wilderness, but in a way, I find it very connected with these physical challenges in wilderness because it's really a way to remember why we are doing things and also who we are. So, and then we can, okay, so why am I doing it based on what I am and who I want to be as a person. So start with why, Simon Sinek, definitely. In terms of websites, so these are more for people living in New York, but want to share it just in case. The DEC website, which is the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, is just a gold mine for people that don't really know about hiking or kayaking or any kind of outdoors activities in the New York State. And we were talking about it, don't especially wants to hire someone or participate in a program like mine, but still are bold enough and brave enough to challenge themselves in the wilderness, so they can go on the DEC website and have all the information they need, so they can find amazing hiking trails. They can see where they can camp, everything like that. And then for everybody, I believe in the world, I think so. Maybe it's just in America. I'm not sure. For the hikers, I recommend every time to use old trails. Do you guys have that in Czech Republic? No,
I don't know.
no. So it's Old Trails. It's an app, and you can plan on your hiking trips. And you have everything. They will give you all the description and everything. So I think that that's very good. It's important to be prepared when we go somewhere outside. So this
Absolutely.
is, yeah. So just make sure that you are prepared and you are on
Mhm.
the right websites to help you doing that. And there is another book, but I don't remember the author. Oh, I have it here.
Mhm.
Give me a second. I
Nice.
didn't remember the author.
Mhm.
So it's this book, The Power of Letting Go.
Nice. I
Um,
heard about it, but I didn't have time to read it. So good
mhm.
for
You
sharing.
have to add it in your calendar. Self care,
Mhm.
reading time. How to Drop Everything That's Holding You Back. It's by John Perkis. It's interesting because I'm a very corporate person. I'm usually all this meditation stuff. I mean, I like it, but
Mhm.
it's not. I find it a little woo sometimes, and this is a very nice balance for people like me. And I know a lot of my clients are like me, very corporate about efficiency, meditation. What is that? And this is a nice book because it helps you getting rid of limiting beliefs, and also living more in the present moment,
Mhm.
which as leaders we definitely need to learn, and we have troubles doing that, a lot of us, because we are
Mhm.
always forward thinking, which is good, but also we need to learn how to live in the present time. So the power of letting go is, I'm reading it right now, and it really helps me to
Good.
be more present.
Wonderful. Thank you. And thank you also very much for spending time with me today. It was
Thank you.
very inspirational. I feel excited. Like I need to do something. Maybe I will go to wilderness this weekend and and do something really really crazy to find my inner balance and to like think about the future and about my vision and if there is any of you out there having questions for me or Menon, let us know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe to this podcast to not miss other episodes. And Menon, thank you so much for spending time with me. It was a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Roman.
Mhm.
Thank you, and I wish you a beautiful weekend full of challenges and wilderness time.
Thank you.